Okay, so on Thursday, I sat down right here in this seat to prepare my reflections for you today, and I did what I usually do. Of course, sat and prayed and read through the readings, and I read the gospel passage, read it a couple of times, and then I got this idea. How about if I do a little review of my own activities for the week? Here's what I came up with. Starting with Monday morning, I spent a couple of hours preparing for our Thursday night adult faith session focused on ways that God calls us in the midst of our losses. And there were multiple emails both before and after. I spent several hours compiling info to help liturgy committee and staff decide whether to continue or suspend Sunday Mass. Also, multiple emails before and after, numerous phone calls. I met with folks to review and discuss plans for the future ADA entry for the St. Vincent de Paul area. A couple of hours of research, multiple emails, numerous phone calls. I participated in a C3 webinar, Creating a Culture of Calling, exploring strategic ways to sustain cultural momentum in the parish. Multiple emails before and after. I developed this week's order of worship and PowerPoint slides for our service that were right in here. I also, quite frankly, did the same for Sunday Mass because I didn't know if we were having Mass or not. Wrote the parish e-news, updated the Sunday page, multiple emails. I attended a Zoom gathering reviewing the new plans for the PCC property there at 42nd and Killingsworth, multiple emails. Oh, fascinating plans, by the way. You're going to like what's coming our way to our neighborhood. I attended a Zoom vicariate meeting with other pastors in Northeast Portland, talked a great deal about how each of us is holding up, Advent plans in the parish, support for Catholic school personnel, and broken boilers. I facilitated our staff meeting where the majority of conversation focused on the decision to suspend Mass. We also discussed plans for Advent, reviewed OSHA requirements in the workplace due to COVID, plans for sacramental preparation, submitting paperwork to relieve our PPP loan, reviewing outstanding work left to be done in our office remodel, reviewed plans for ADA entry for St. Vincent de Paul. I then spent several hours communicating the decision to suspend Mass and reconfiguring our communication platforms, website, social media, phone greetings, etc. Multiple emails, numerous phone calls. I met with the admin council where we discussed the parish finances, suspension of Mass, spaghetti dinner appeal, St. Vincent de Paul ADA access, Parishioners in Need Fund, multiple emails before and after, phone calls before and after. I met with Miley to discuss this year's confirmation program. I met with JD Duran to discuss this week's parish news and items to be posted on Facebook. I met with Mary Lynn to reconfigure our sign-up platform called Sign Up Genius in light of the fact that we're suspending Mass. And amidst all of that, a constant stream of emails related to everything from the Archdiocesan census count to the plea to have us complete the info for the official Catholic directory to determining who gets one of the 10 new mail slots in our office. You know, quite frankly, I consider all of this and a lot more pretty important. It's my job. And I know these administrative tasks create the framework, the infrastructure of the parish, and it's what empowers us to carry on. I know this. In my head, I know it's all necessary. And on most days, I feel like I do it reasonably well. But when I hold that up next to today's gospel, I wonder, am I really doing the right things? Are we doing the right things? So I just want to let that question dangle in the air for a few minutes while I say these things. Today is the last Sunday of the liturgical year, the feast of Christ the King. Amidst all the feasts that we celebrate throughout the year, today's is a relatively new one, less than 100 years old. Pius XI instituted this feast in 1925 to respond to growing secularism and hostility in the church, against the church. At that time, particularly in Europe, Russia, Mexico, governments were crumbling. So Pius sought to give hope to Catholics, assuring them that Christ, the King, will reign forever. And then, as we hear in today's gospel, Jesus turns the notion of kingship and kingdom on its ear and completely redefines it. The kingdom of God is not like any other. It is a place where the poor are no longer miserable. The ill find healing. The immigrant is embraced. The worker is fully employed, and no one, absolutely no one, goes hungry. What stands out in this parable is not the otherworldly visions of eternal glory on one side and unrelenting damnation on the other. Don't let the apocalyptic nature of this story distract you, because what really stands out is the face of the hungry Jesus, the face of the thirsty Jesus, the face of the immigrant Jesus, the naked, the sick, the incarcerated Jesus. As you heard me proclaim 4 times, the list is repeated. You can't miss it. The message is unavoidably clear. The works of mercy, do them. Of course, this is a challenge to each one of us as individuals, but also to us as a community and to the church as an institution. And we can celebrate the fact that over the decades, over the centuries, the church has institutionalized many of these works of mercy, setting up schools, refugee settlement agencies, adoption and foster care services, hospitals, and much more. And of course, there's no question that the church should and will play a vital role in the world's recovery from the pandemic. And so each of us is called to serve and offer support in areas like healthcare, child welfare, immigration, hunger prevention, housing, education. We are called to do what we can, and so many of you do. Volunteer, advocate, demonstrate, donate, support these agencies and so many other efforts. That calling leaves me still in a quandary over the question that I left dangling just a couple of minutes ago. Is the stuff I'm doing day in and day out aligned with the stuff that God is doing in the world? It haunts me and won't leave me alone. But on a good day, it beckons me into prayer. And there I find both solace and encouragement and direction. And so quite frankly, I hope that it haunts and beckons you as well. Okay, but I have to be honest. The very next day, Friday, Friday's my day off. I'm here at home. I'm doing some work in the yard, and a man comes walking along the street carrying a gas can, and he asks, "Do you have any money? I need gas for my car. It ran out of gas." And I said, "No, I don't have any money on me." And I turned my back on him. And then I thought of you. And by then he was pretty far down the block. So I went after him and I beckoned him back. And I said, "I'm sure I have $5 if you'll wait for me to go into the house." And I was thinking I didn't want to go in the house because my shoes were muddy and it's a pain to take my shoes off and put my slippers on and then do it all again. Um, but because of you, I'm really glad I did exactly that, because I don't know how I could have even shared these words with you today. Let me conclude by simply saying this much seems clear. When all the masses have been said, when all the Zoom services are concluded, when all the meetings are exhausted, when all the renovations are completed, all the emails sent, web pages posted, etc., each of us will be faced in the end with one question: what have you done for the least?